Hi everyone, in this video we'll be discussing how to edit the cost for a particular part in your estimate. As you can see, I'm in the projects page right now and I have a single item added to my estimate. In this case it's half-inch drywall over 300 square feet. To make any adjustments to the way this part is priced out, I'm going to click the blue edit button here. But before we go any further, it's important to note that when we're adjusting costing or verbiage for a part within our estimate, it's specific to the estimate. So we don't have to worry about adjusting the part permanently. So in other words, any changes we make in our projects page are specific to that particular estimate. If we wanted to make any overall changes to our actual part database or the pricing or the part in the database, you're going to go up here to parts, and we actually have another video on that. In this particular video, we're going to discuss editing a part in your actual project. To do so, we're going to click the little blue edit button here, and this is going to pull up the cost formula. So this is what we're going to talk about today, and this is how a part is priced out. So any part that comes from Clear Estimates is going to already have the cost formula filled out. And when we go in here and make some changes, we have a couple different options on how we want to price it out. Typically, it will be assigned as a company amount. If we want it to be a subcontractor cost, all we have to do is click this button right here and then define the cost for a subcontractor. In this case, we'll talk about company amount here. And the way it prices out is we have material and labor to look at. Material works with the unit cost, the material multiplier, and multiplied against the total amount over here, in this case square feet. And then labor is your hourly rate multiplied against the hours required to install or remove one particular square foot, multiplied against the total square footage here. So let's talk about material first. So unit cost is the most common unit type in here, and this is going to be how much the part is material-wise per square foot. So in this case, it says 49 cents a square foot, but let's say we wanted to change this to $1 a square foot. I would just type in the number 1, and that's all we have to do. So that's the material cost per square foot. And then that gets multiplied against the material multiplier. This typically is left at the number 1. The times when you would change this is if we wanted to add on a tax or maybe some kind of waste factor or an overhead. Typically it will remain 1 like I just mentioned, but let's say we wanted to add an additional 10% to the material here. To do that, we're just going to click 0.1, so this would be 1.1. And then what that does is add an additional 10% to our material. So now instead of $600 of material, we now have $660. So if we remove that 1, we should go back to 600 here. Now let's talk about labor. So labor is going to have your hourly labor rate multiplied against the hourly multiplier. So the hourly multiplier is the hours required to install or remove 1 square foot in this particular case. So right now we're looking at about 0.028 hours to install 1 square foot. Let's go ahead and change this number and see what happens. So let's say we are pricing out, let's say 15 minutes for 1 square foot of drywall to install. So 15 minutes is 1/4 of an hour. So I'm going to type in 0.25. So 0.25 is 1/4 of an hour. So what I have here is 1/4 of an hour, or 15 minutes, multiplied against my carpenter rate of $40 an hour, and that's for 600 square feet here. So we should see our labor cost jump up here. So let's watch. So our labor just went up to $6,000, and again that's at 15 minutes to install 1 square foot multiplied by $40 an hour, multiplied by our 600 square feet here. So let's say I change my hourly rate here. So let's go something a little bit cheaper. So we'll go with $27.95. You'll see that our labor cost dropped almost $2,000 right here. Now keep in mind that any changes we make here again are specific to this estimate. So that's really nice because we can come in here, make some changes, and we don't have to worry about the part itself being changed in the database. This is just for the particular estimate. Now you have a bunch of unit types over here to work with as well. So we've just been talking about square feet. You can also price things out by pieces. Pieces is kind of your catch-all, where we can define the same kinds of information, except we can enter unit cost, hourly multiplier, labor rate, material multiplier. So very similar to square feet, only if you wanted to change it over to pieces. Then we also have linear feet, which is great for baseboard or crown molding, anything that's going to go around the perimeter. Cubic yards is great for any kind of excavation or earthwork. And then dollars and hours are your really simple unit types. So dollars are great for things like allowances or budgets, because with this unit type, all we have to do is type in the total dollar amount here. So if I had a $1,000 budget for the installation of drywall, I would just type that in right here. Or if I had 600, I would type it in as well. And then hours is somewhat similar. In hours, we simply define a labor rate here. So maybe I'm going to select 2970. And then I'm going to type in the number of hours. And then we're going to get our costing here. So whatever our number of hours is, you'll see our cost display right here. And that pretty much sums up how to adjust part costing when working in your estimate. Any changes we make here, just be sure to come down and click Save Part. Thanks for watching.